I found the Caregiving Resource Center from AARP. It had articles about the basics that got me started, but also information about the hurdles I was facing in this new role. I could even connect with experts and hear from others who had been in my place. I know this road we're on isn't an easy one, but I'm really happy to have the extra help for her and for me.
Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving. Articles, tips, and tools to help you both care for your loved one and care for yourself. This message is brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Lion Tales, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation, on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm your host, Dr. Lynnda Nadien, along with Aurora Workman, and our guest today is Stefan Krompier, former Nassau Community College basketball player and student government president. So you really got involved during your time at Nassau, and what was your mentality when you tried out for the basketball team and then you ran for student government president? What was that like at the time?
Well, at the time, as far as the basketball team was concerned, I was just happy to have an opportunity to maybe play on a real basketball team.
Yeah.
And so, part of it was that I was happy. I was a little bit scared because I didn't know how good I was or I wasn't. A big thrill, though, was when they posted those who made the team, seeing my name up there. I was just so happy. And, I just mentioned, as I was walking around campus that day in between classes, and I see the kids, and I see a lot of my old friends in their faces. And one of the fellows was my friend, George Schilling. Well, we tried out together. We were going for the same position. I remember going up for a layup. He grabbed my shorts. I fell down, and at that moment, I hated him. But we both made the team, and we became best friends in life. And I think that's one of the real beauties of this college. You come here and you meet people who you relate to, and you meet best friends in life. And for me, that was major. A little story about me running for student government. When I was a senior in high school, I was in the men's room. Some guy who was on the basketball team comes up to me and goes, "Hey, Krompier, where you going to You going to college?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm going to Nassau Community College." He says, "Nassau Community College, what's that?" I said, "It's a new college over in Garden City." He goes, "Well, you're probably going to be a big man on that campus."
Little did he know you are.
Yeah.
And so what happened was, I love being here. And the way it worked back then is that if you wanted to run for student government, there was a list that you could sign up on. You put down the office you wanted to run for. There was a group that interviewed you, and then they picked the people who would actually run. And so, again, what an opportunity. I put my name on the list. I remembered that guy, and I said to myself, I think I can do this. And it worked out that I could. Being president of student government, and what I learned doing that outside of the classroom, how to interact with people, how to run meetings, how to represent the college. It just was an education that was worth far more than the $150 a semester I paid.
Oh, wow. And so while you were on the campus, you also work with students with disabilities, and I'm sure they'll never forget you, but do you remember why you did that and how that came about?
Well, those services, the kinds of services that we offer now were not here. They just weren't here. So, I can remember them clearly. One was Kenny Pinkowski. He was severely spastic with cerebral palsy. Second was Danny Sullivan. He was a paraplegic. Third was Harold Wenning, who could just about see. And then there was a young lady who was in a wheelchair, and she had to stay horizontal to the ground. So remembering that we started out in that little office building, particularly with that young lady, if she was going to go up and down stairs, and she had to, they tried to put all her classes on the first floor, but they couldn't. She needed help. And what it ended up happening, all of us, I happen to live in the same town with Danny and Kenny. So we would ride in together. I would drive 4 or 5 of the guys and girls that came to Nassau from Long Beach. And we'd help them when they needed help. And that's just what we did. That's the way it was. Kenny used to come to the dances. He'd be spastic in his chair. We'd have a little liquid refreshment for him that relaxed him a lot. And girls would get out there and push him around the floor. Kenny ended up graduating from Nassau as valedictorian. Wow. He went to Hofstra, got a legal degree, and did research. And that's the last I heard about Kenny Pankowski. Danny Sullivan.
It's emotional reliving a lot of the memories, because really almost all of our guests that we have interviewed over the course of the last few months say the same thing, that it really is like part of their gut, the being on the campus and working with people here, and we understand. Yeah. And they mean so much to everyone.
Yeah, and Danny passed not that long ago also. Danny Sullivan came to Nassau. He was elected president of the freshman class, and he failed out. It was devastating to him. One of the deans said, Danny, he said, you've been enabled all your life, he said. And what kind of happened here was you put in very little or no effort in terms of academics, and he failed out. Danny said to me, he said, Steph, I'm coming back. He came back. He went to night school for 1 semester. He got back in. He graduated from here. He graduated from Hofstra. He loved basketball. He went to Philadelphia. He created a number of wheelchair basketball leagues there. They became affiliated with the Philadelphia 76ers at the time. Charles Barkley, who we see on television all the time, was a prime mover in that league. Wow. Danny's work was placing people who had disabilities in jobs that they could do effectively, that were well paid. And Danny was one of the fellows who was in the Rose Garden at the White House when all those laws that were passed were signed. Every time, I see a ramp someplace or an access door, that's Danny Sullivan, one of our graduates.
That is fantastic. Wow. You're listening to Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Aurora Workman, along with Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and our guest today is Stefan Krompier, educator who lives by the rule that what is good for our students is good for us. What is good for us is only good if it is good for our students. What from your past has really allowed you to be such an effective educator, Stefan?
Well, first of all, as I said, the educators that I had that went before me, they were very interested in teaching the subject, and the good ones were always very good at that. But you always felt that they cared. And, I don't know why, I guess it would go back to my parents and the way my parents treated me and my brother and sister. We had no money. My father kind of lost everything. 5 of us were living in a basement apartment in Long Beach. My sister had 1 bedroom. My brother and I had another bedroom. My mother and father slept on a couch roll-out couch in the kitchen. We had nothing, but we always knew that they cared about us. We always knew that they were proud of us. And so we grew up that way. And so I actually went into teaching because I wanted to coach, which I was able to do. But, the way I am is just because of my parents. And that's one of the reasons I connected with Nassau, because there were so many people here at Nassau that, had the same mentality as I did. So, and then you just pass it on. It just comes natural,
And students are very fortunate, not only that you are that type of teacher, but you're bringing all that from what you have experienced as a student into your professional life. And so we're very, happy to have faculty members like Stefan Krompier here at Nassau Community College. I mean, the one thing that we always hear, and Lynnda's right from our guests, is that the faculty here care, and they don't just care about the grade. They really care about the holistic person.
And they give you the inspiration to, continue even if there's any type of adversity. So over your many years of teaching, what is the most important lesson that you learned from the students, from your students?
Well, there were so many of them. One of the things I think I learned was don't prejudge.
Right, very important.
Students are sitting in front of you, and somebody might have long hair or wearing an outfit that you wouldn't wear. But then you're there with them, and you see how really brilliant they are and how caring they are. So I think one of the big lessons that I learned is not to prejudge people. And then also I think, difficulties arise in life. If somebody misses an exam, a lot of times if they want to be there, they should have been there, but they couldn't be there. So try to find out what it is that is maybe impeding some of our students from succeeding, and then trying to help them overcome whatever it is. And so that was another thing that I learned from my students.
And we keep learning different and more things. But this last, Stefan Krompier is a reporter with Blank Slate Media covering the Great Neck, Pup Peninsula, and the town of North Hempstead, South Shore native. So, Stefan, you're a reporter. What do you cover?
I don't know about that piece. I don't know about that piece. What we do is we have a newsletter that we send out to 3,500 of our current and retired adjuncts. So I do write stories for the newsletter. It's like a mini magazine. Okay. So from that perspective, that's the case.
That's wonderful. We'd like to thank our guest, Stefan Krompier, a proud alumni of Nassau Community College with over 55 years of relationship here on this campus. And thank you for coming to our show.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
We want to thank you for being with us. My name is Dr. Lynnda Nadien, along with my fabulous friend Aurora Workman, president of the Nassau Community College Alumni Association. The creative director of Lion Tales is Rudy J. Breedy. This show is a production of the Nassau Community College Alumni Association. Visit nassaucommunitycollege.edu/WHPC for more information. Available as a podcast on iTunes, Android Podcasts, and Spreaker. Lion Tales is powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. We'll talk to you next week.